viewers understand what are some of the symptoms of this depression, since as Pamela is saying it's something that is has to do with the mind. It's something that is it's a mental illness. So how do I know the symptoms and signs if there is something like that? Yes.
Yes. So
That's right.
it all depends with the kind of person you are.
Okay.
So the signs and symptoms of depression, they can be eating a lot. Some people eat less.
Okay.
So some people who used to enjoy eating a lot tend to eat less, and some people who used to eat less eat a lot, because that's how it has taken them. Another sign and symptom of depression is having sleepless nights, or would say sleeping less or sleeping too much. That would be the other sign and symptom. And also losing interest in doing things that you used to enjoy doing. For example, you used to enjoy running. Suddenly you stop doing what you used to love doing. If you used to enjoy going on adventures or reading books, you stop doing those activities that you used to enjoy doing. Mostly people with depression, they're enclosed. They don't like going out or doing something fun to at least help them with their situation at that particular moment. They're afraid to face their fears. They're afraid to face their challenge head on. Sometimes they're thinking of something that is making them depressed. It could be a funeral. Maybe someone has a funeral and they're passing through that depression of losing someone they loved. So those are some of the signs and symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, brilliant. Pamela, you have anything to say?
Yes, just like Rose has mentioned,
Yes.
for a person who is undergoing or who is going through depression, the most noticeable characteristics of depression, usually the different levels of energy in a person. So here's a person that is very productive at work, very active, very social, and then once they start going through this challenge that they're going through, suddenly a person becomes less productive. They don't want to socialize with people. They're isolating themselves. So these are the signs that you can easily see. A person is always complaining to say, okay, maybe I'm feeling too tired. I feel like I haven't had enough rest, fatigue. Like Rose mentioned, they're eating too much or too less. They're having less time with people around them. Those are some of very common noticeable signs of depression.
Okay, beautiful. I'm trying to catch a thought here. There's somebody who will tell you, you know what? With me, this is just me. Like, this is me. I rarely open up to people. I feel they call themselves introverts, if I can borrow that term. So would we say can we mistake introversy to depression, or it's a two-way thing, like depression to introversy? Or what's your take on that one? Like introversy and depression, can it be?
I think to take that to Clarence, I think
yes.
When you talk about introvert,
Yes.
Introvert is not really a depression. Let me say it's not a depression condition.
Okay.
What do I mean is, when you talk about introvert, we mean about, here is someone who is comfortable just to be alone.
Okay.
Is comfortable to be quiet. He's comfortable to do what he wants to do at that particular moment alone.
Okay.
But now when you talk about depression, we are talking about now comfortability. Someone to be alone, meaning there is something which is pressuring him. There's something going on in his mind. Is low. Okay, he's just acting against the way he used to be. So if you say in that way, I don't think like introvert is depression.
Yes. Okay, beautiful. You have something to say, Ruth?
Just the way Jenga said,
Yes,
introversy it's a personality. This is how someone has, decided like they want to be. So it's not really depression. When you are depressed, you are not free. You don't feel comfortable. You don't feel happiness. You don't see the positives in your life. So this is why when depression has escalated,
Yes.
beg your pardon,
Sure.
yes, that's where you see someone now thinking of suicidal thoughts because they are having a pressing issue that they are unable to overcome. Yes.
Amazing. You have something to
Okay,
say?
so I feel like we are talking about depression, and yet we haven't really sourced out where depression sort of comes from. So I would just like to maybe give a clear thought on that.
Please.
Depression just doesn't come about from nowhere. It could be someone can be depressed or have those feelings of depression, especially after having gone through a traumatic event. This could have been losing a loved one, living and having some disease, or having gone through an accident, having witnessed something so horrible, or something having happened to them, maybe rape, maybe witnessing somebody being killed. So these are the things that people really take lightly. We say, oh, at least you survived. It didn't happen to you. But little do we understand that those are the people that are mostly affected. All right? So when someone has depression, we need to look at the source. Where is it coming from? Because we're not going to start trying to help this person without really understanding or relating where it is coming from. So usually that is very difficult because when a person is undergoing depression, admitting that they're depressed is the last thing you'd want to hear from them. If anything, you'd see them at their happiest, but this is a person who's really depressed. So we need to really scan our environment, learn to know people more, because you're not going to see depression written on someone's face, because as my fellow panelists here have mentioned, it's taken differently. I am a very maybe quiet person, and if I'm undergoing depression, I might even become quieter than I am, or loud. So we should really understand the sources of these depressions before we even start thinking of how we can help a person. Understanding where it's coming from is very vital.
Very vital indeed. So understanding the roots of something is just a step closer to solving that problem. As you guys will be sharing, giving highlights on most of the causes. Of course, Pamela was touching here and there about it. I want you to give a clear insight, since we are now understanding that this depression and anxiety has got some root. It's coming from somewhere. It's caused by something, so to say. So as you were just explaining, I could pick out some things, but just maybe on a very light note, that it's explained even in details. Help me understand some of the causes, rather the causes that are anchoring to somebody getting depressed or somebody going through anxiety. I'll start with Rose, please.
All right. So some of the causes, as Pamela mentioned, it could be someone is going through a traumatic experience. So what do I mean by that? Here's a girl, a young girl who was raped at a tender age, and they grow up with that, reliving that experience, the bad experience they had. The more they are thinking of the same thing, the more they are becoming depressed. That's why you see when the depression has reached the height of it, someone is able to commit suicide. Why? They don't see hope at the end of the tunnel. They don't see light. So there are many causes of depression. It could be heartbreak. And mostly among young people, depression occurs mainly in young people because of the heartbreaks. Here's a person in a very committed relationship, so to say,
Yes.
and the boyfriend is, telling the girl, no, I love you, or the girl is telling the boy, then they end up breaking up. and after the breakup, one goes into that trauma, so to say. They have a panic attack. Okay, this person has left me now. How am I going to move on? How am I going to live without this person? This person I treasured the most. So, in thinking of that, they're slowly going into depression, and some people don't even notice that it is depression. They don't even know that it is depression, and it's bad for them. Yeah.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Tenojang.
Just to add on to what Mary have said, what we have to know is when you talk about depression can happen to anyone. So, like regardless to sex, age, social status, race, or I may say culture. So now, when you talk about the causes, what really causes the depression is, we may say, when someone, let me be specific. If I talk about youths and the adolescents,
Yes.
so it's a stage whereby you are now experiencing life. You are learning about new things. So now, when we talk about that, it's the level whereby someone is trying to engage himself in certain issues. So now, like we can say, maybe here is someone like Mary have said, to say someone is undergoing a certain heartbreak. He had a certain dual relationship with someone, and yet as way along they break up the relationship. And so just from that process, if there is no one to counsel that person, or there is no one to encourage, to give him that courage so that he or she can stand on his feet again, it can lead to depression. So there are so many causes. Let me say about someone who is under abuse. Let me say we may talk about at home. Let me say maybe there is one person, a dependent, whereby is physical abuse, emotional abuse. So you will live with that a lot of thoughts in him to say, but why me? Am I treated like this compared to my fellow children? So upon that process, it may lead to have a depression. You may find that a child was performing well at school, is losing concentration, is doing well just because of what he's thinking most of the time in his life.
Thank you very much. Yes, family, have a thought.
Yes, I do have a thought to share. So just
Sure.
like here Andrew was mentioning,
Yes.
everybody is at the risk of suffering from depression, regardless of the age, the sex, social status, or whatever. Everybody is at this risk. So if everyone is at the risk of suffering from depression, it means as many as possible causes can be spotted.
Sure.
So here's a child living in a home where parents are always fighting. This child has to go to school. This child needs support from his or her parents. And the parents, because they don't really get along, we have this thing in our culture where parents tend to, direct their anger from their marital, problems to the children. So if it can affect a child, those are some of the problems that can, or some of the causes that can cause depression in a child. It can be non-peace in a home. Parents are always fighting. This child could be abused in his or her home, not really by maybe external people, but even from within. It causes the child not to have that space to speak out. So that process of failing to speak out means the child will have to take everything in without anyone to help. It causes depression because the child is failing to productively release what he or she has to say. Parents, they have to work, they have to look after the children, they have bills to pay, they have work pressure. All those are causes of depression. They can cause depression. So everybody is at the risk of suffering from depression. It's not like this group, specific group is special than the others. Everyone can suffer from depression. You can suffer from depression, yet you can still be someone I can look up to and say, oh, Clarence, he's doing well financially, and even in the society, you know, people think he's a happy person, but at the end of the day, you are alone, you have thoughts, you have plans, you have bills to pay, and those can actually cause depression.
Excellent, excellent. Well explained. Well, I can get the environment has a lot of positive or a negative energy that would lead one into depression. They've said, mentioned a lot. There's a lot of aspects where depression can emit from. To our dear viewers, you are catching us live at Sun TV, and this is Youth Alive Talk Show. It's getting interesting in here. Make sure to get through your comments, and your contributions. We'll be able to attend to them as we just getting slicing in the topic. It's getting interesting and interesting. Make sure to send through your questions and your comments. That is at Youth Alive Zambia page, even at Sun TV page. We'll be able to attend to your questions and your comments. So a quick one. I'm getting depression and anxiety. So you're saying it's at a prolonged period of time. So here is somebody who's they're going through abuse. They cannot speak out and all that kind of and all those attributes. But I want you to help me understand, at what point really do we say, okay, this is depression. This is no longer something that should be taken lightly. This is no longer nervousness, as my able man Jenga was saying. We can mistake nervousness or sadness to depression. So I want you to just clear out, like, at what point exactly should I know, okay, so this is not sadness, this is not just anxiety, no, this is not just nervousness, but this is depression. At just what point am I going to say, okay, maybe I am going through depression, or maybe friend is going through depression?
Okay, so because people are different, we have women, we have men, we have children.
Yes.
I think I would want to make one point clear. We have different types of depression. There are certain types of depression. So if you want to know at what level is one actually going or undergoing through depression, there's a type of depression that is found in women and girls. Usually it is a bit hormonal. It's caused by the hormones.
Oh.
So for example, a woman who is just from delivering,
Yes, please.
they naturally undergo this type of depression. It's called postpartum depression. Yes, thank you, Rose.
Okay.
It's called that because a woman will start having, insecurities about themselves now, to say, okay, now that I have a baby, maybe I'm feeling different, I'm looking different. It's really characterized by a lot of emotions, characterized by sadness, low levels of this person every time, because they feel like they can never really get back what they lost. So sometimes also knowing the type of depression that a person is likely to undergo will help us know how much is too much, because certain types of depression, they're predictable.
Yes.
Like for this one, so we'll know to say just after a few months, as the baby is growing, the mother will get used and it will eventually go away. Yes.
Okay, just like what Pamela have said,
Yes, please.
I think to get to know like someone is undergoing under depression is it's something easy to notice. What do I mean is, let me say, for example, at home, we've got friends and family members. Let me say you are a parent at home. You know how your children behaves. You know how your wife behaves. You know everything as the head of the house. So now, just from how your children and your wife behaves, you could notice to say, I think this is not how my children behave. This is not how my wife behaves. So let me say, for example, you have a routine at your house whereby maybe when you come, The children will stand, hug you, you have a chat, you do anything. That's when you go to bed or do anything else. Then you just find like let me say one of your child, when you just come in, he or she just look like he's absent mind, as if like he didn't see you. Okay, so you try to not, like, you may not say it there and then. You may try to observe that child. You may even give him some days to say, let me say you come today, you are from work, the child behaving the same, just behaving different to their fellow children. And the other day, same thing. Then you could try to notice to say, I think something is wrong with my child. So you try to follow up to say, what's really happening? Is he passing under abuse? What's really happening to my child? Is it here within the house or it's outside? Let me say, is it friends who is traumatizing him, or is it at school or anywhere else? You try as a parent just to find really is going on to your child. Like, let me say to yourself, how you can identify to say, I think I'm passing through under depression.
Yes,
let me say, for example, when you talk about depression, it's something whereby maybe you may try to be against it, but you can't. Okay? You try to do some activities whereby maybe there was some certain activities where you used to get interest in, but you are just failing to do it. You didn't do anything the whole day, but you're just feeling tired. So then you can say, I think something's wrong within me. Why am I behaving such a way? Maybe you try to force yourself to have that, to do your routine or to do your daily task, but you are just failing. You just don't have that power to pursue what you want to do. You can say, I think at this state, I'm not at the right point. Yes.
all right. Yes, Rose, you have something.
Yes. So sometimes the way you can notice that I'm depressed, it's listening. So when your people around you are able to notice the changes in you. I know depression takes people differently.
Yes.
Someone may be depressed and yet they seem happy. You can't even notice that they're depressed. But for some people, it is, you can able to see because they've lost interest in doing certain things they used to enjoy doing. Yes. So you listen to what people are telling you. Here is someone, you're depressed. And because people who are depressed, it's very difficult for them to open up. So here's someone, your friend comes, no, Mary, you have changed in a certain way. These days you don't look like the way you used to look like. You don't talk like the way you used to talk like. How is that? No, you talk differently. You don't do things that you used to do. From there, you're able to pick it out and say, okay, maybe something might be wrong with me. I might be going through depression. If you don't know that it is depression, try to get help. Okay, what do I do with this? Why do I feel like sometimes it's how we feel. We know self-awareness is very important. And most of the people are aware of themselves. They know what they like, they know what they don't like. So at that particular moment when you're depressed, you're able to tell, okay, I used to love doing this and I no longer do it. I don't find interest in doing that, or I don't enjoy doing it anymore. Why is that? You start asking yourself those questions. In those lines, you're able to tell, okay, right now I might be going through what? Depression. Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes, Pamela, you have something to say.
Maybe just to go back on the question, if I remember your question correctly,
Yes.
you said how do you know that depression is at its highest?
Exactly.
Yeah. So looking at the fact that depression is a mental, it's something to do with the mind. So there are some people that say depression, the other type of depression is sort of genetic. I've heard that before. They say it's something that is genetic. I inherited it from my mom. I inherited it from my dad. So they occasionally take antidepressants. So if in a normal routine, maybe this person takes one tablet, maybe in a week, or maybe two tablets in a day, if the number of tablets, antidepressants that is, increase, then you're able to notice, say, this is not at its normal level anymore. If this person drinks from time to time, I mean, people say, I drink because I'm depressed, but the frequency or the amount of time you're spending drinking and in less productive activities can also tell you to say, okay, that was depression at a certain level, but now it's just going all the way up, and then you need to notice that this person needs help or some sort of treatment from the external parts. Because many other times when someone is depressed, they try to sort it out themselves first. That is the way it always is, because that's why it's not even easy for a person to come out to say, you know, I'm depressed, because I'll notice today I'm not feeling well, I feel sad, and then tomorrow if I feel the same way, I won't just go right there and then start telling people to say, you guys, I feel like this. I'll try to sort it out myself. I'll try to look at the things I might be going through. Is it maybe my relationship? Is it work? Friendships? If none of that really brings to me some light to as why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, then I can go to drugs now, and then alcohol, and then to some extent people will just obviously see it, because at first I'll try to hide it and people won't notice, but if it's at its peak, people will be able to notice, to say, okay, this is not okay anymore, because the frequency of isolation, maybe frequent missing work. This person is missing work for no apparent reason. Every time maybe they're sick, they're giving excuses. Maybe school performance has just gone down. So that it just gets to a point where people are able to notice, to say, okay, something is wrong.
It gets to a point where people are noticed that something is wrong. So productivity might be affected because of depression, as I am getting it. Well, dear viewers, you're catching us live at Sunshine Studios and Sunshine TV. This is Youth Alive talk show. Just getting interesting as we are unfolding the topic under discussion, which is anxiety and depression. Rose, a quick thought on the same.
Yes, so here's how you are able to tell that, okay, depression has reached its highest peak. People think of suicide, and that is the most common one that you can tell that, okay, right now this is depression. The only thing that can be in your mind is suicide. You don't see hope at all. This is where you're able to tell that, okay, this depression has reached its highest peak. I need to get help quickly and fast. ASAP. Yes.
ASAP, indeed. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so it seems time is beating us. Time is just not our best ally, but this topic is getting more interesting even as we are just getting done with it. So I'm going to ask just some I think maybe some 2 minutes your thoughts to oppose to the questions that I'm going to ask, just each one, and just your closing remarks even as you are attending to the questions. So I'm looking at a situation where somebody is I'll start with Rose from the far end there. Somebody is saying, you know what, I'm taking alcohol, I'm abusing drugs, or I'm engaged into illicit behaviors because I'm depressed and I cannot find a community. I cannot find somebody to talk to, because it's like the people around me are not really helping me, but instead they're doing what they are judging me. So how best do you help such a one? Rose, please.
Okay, so in terms of depression and anxiety, I would say drinking is it is how the amount of alcohol you take, or the amount of time, or the time you take drinking and doing. You wouldn't make an excuse of saying nezekumwa because nama reasons depression, and then you go again and drink and you come back saying okay nama reasons. The same reasons, you have to find the solutions to the reasons. So if the people around you feel they're not helping you in any way, try to help yourself. It still comes back to you. It's not them being affected, it's you. It's all about you as a person. It is your health. It is your mental health we are talking about. So look at yourself. Okay, I have this problem, and whenever I'm having this burning issue, I go to drink, and it's not helping me in any way, and people around me are not helping me in any way. What do? Okay, let me try to do something. If I like being alone in a room, locked in, okay, let me do something productive. Let me find something to do. What can I do? All right, let me go take a walk, or start running, or join a boxing club. It could be anything productive. It could be reading books. It's also considered to be a hobby for some people. If you don't like reading, even social media, try to do some research to keep your mind busy from the pressing issue. So it's not always about drinking or using drugs. It's not always about that. If you have identified, okay, people around me are not helping me in any way, and whenever I'm having this burning issue, I go to drink, and when I drink, I know, okay, nama reasons yokuma, so I'll just continue drinking because nama reasons. But how is it helping you? It's not. So find something to do to keep you busy from thinking about the same pressing issue or having that feeling of unhappiness.
It's about finding what to do. Find something that helps you out, because
Yeah.
alcohol or drugs, it's just not helping. It's just not helping. So find something productive you can do within yourself. This is your health. This is your responsibility. How you take care of it really, really matters. Jenga, I want to get a quick thought from you on we're talking about relationships and just a whole thing that happens. Your relationships starts from home, our friends. It might not be maybe in a relationship, a boyfriend and girlfriend, or a husband and wife, but it starts from as friendship, the relationships at school, your classmates, your workmates. How do those around you? I want you to just help us understand, how do they help in making one overcome depression? In as much as they are your friends, they might cause depression, of course, from our discussion, as it was said. But how do we help out? How do I help out my colleague when they are depressed? How do I help out my classmate if they are depressed? How do I help out Rose, who's my friend, when they are depressed? Just a quick thought, please.
Okay. Thanks for that, Clarence.
Yes.
I think I'll start by saying when you talk about dealing depression, there are several ways you can do. So now let me say about, like you have stated, to say a friend or a colleague or whatever,
Yes.
anyone who is close to you. So I think like we have said, a friend, you first, because you've got a connection between you two, so that means you know how your friend behaves. You know when he's sad, you know when he's comfortable, you know when he's happy, you know, okay, whatever he do at a certain moment, you know what is happening. Okay, so now, like, let me say here is your friend at the school or anywhere else. Maybe let me say you've got a certain routine, right? Maybe when you meet, maybe you shake hands or you crack some jokes with him.
Yes.
But here you meet a certain friend whom you're used to, and he's just showing you something different which you don't normally do when you meet. So you may try to say, I think there's something wrong to my friend. So I think if you want to help that friend of yours, if your friend didn't show you what's really going on in him, that means he's not open enough to tell you his problem. So the best thing you can do is try by all means to make him open up. So when he opens up, and you try by all means to say, but what's really causing this so that he behaves in such a way? So by so doing, you are trying to make him open up to you. It's maybe you are not, let me say about confidentiality. Maybe you don't keep secrets, so that's why he may feel imbalanced if he could tell you the problem. So because it might be maybe he pregnated somewhere, so maybe you may expose that and he'll be ashamed. So you please try by all means to say, but what is making my friend not to open up to me? If you wake up on that area, then you could tell, I think the best way to help my friend is in this way. So that's how you can help your colleague, I think, sir.
Always know how to help your colleague. Okay, thank you very, very much. Well, dear viewers, this is Sunshine TV. You're catching us live. It's interesting, though time is not our best ally in this case, but we have a lot, we've exhausted a lot, and it's amazing. It's just amazing. I don't want to leave out Pamela because she feels left out, so please, Pamela, just your quick thoughts, just under 1 minute, because I can see our times is already running out. I want you to just help somebody. Here is a child in a home, and they are depressed. Depression can even start from home. Conflicts within the family, and this child is in that family. How do you help out such a one? Those that actually and are witnessed or witnesses of violence in the home and violence amongst the parents or the siblings. How do you help such a one as a child?
Okay, so I will give a very simple and relatable example.
Please.
When a child is sick, maybe they have a fever or they have a flu, the parents are very quick to respond. They'll take the child to the hospital. So in what I'm trying to say is mental health is just as important as it's actually the most important part of our well-being, because it affects all areas in our lives. So just as a parent, or even when the actual parent is not around, the neighbor will take the initiative to take the child to the hospital, because they know to say, okay, if this child gets worse, the worst might happen. So looking at mental health as the greatest part of our well-being, I think we cannot run away from depression and anxiety. Everybody is suffering from it, be it a child, be it an adult. So we just ought to bear in mind to say we cannot run away from anxiety and depression, but learning about our mental well-being as much as we can will help each and every individual, starting from children to parents. They will understand to say if mental health affects everyone, it means it will have to start from up there, learning, and then actually realizing to say it can even affect a child. So they will stop those certain activities that might affect a child. It all starts from learning and knowing the importance of us taking care of our mental well-being, because it's as important. It's very important.
It's very important indeed. Knowing your health and learning about it is one of the most effective way you can get to handle depression. Well, our viewers, it's such a bad thing that we have to wrap up the show, but it's been amazing. I've learned a lot. I hope you too, you also have learned quite a lot from today's discussion. I've been with Youth Alive Zambia, and here at Sunshine Studios. You've been catching us live. We've been having the topic and the discussion, which was anxiety and depression. We've talked about a lot. I'm really learning a lot. So please make sure to follow our page, which is Sunshine TV, and also follow Youth Alive Zambia page on Facebook and all socials. Otherwise, it's been amazing. Thank you very much for you who found time to just get locked in and just being able to participate and just watch us. Thank you very much. Until next time, we say good.